Hi everybody, it's Patrice Marie here, and I am so excited to be a part of this transformation, immersion, virtual retreat. When Nilofer asked me to be a part of this, it was so fitting because I'm going through some major transformations in my life. And hopefully I'll be able to share a few of them with you here today. But I just want you to know how excited and happy I am to be here talking to you in this virtual retreat. And I know there's some tremendous speakers that I'm joined with that have wonderful ways that you could be transforming yourself. And I would like to talk to you today about the creative nature of our thoughts. So I am an escape artist and a dreamcaster and a spiritual life coach. And what I do is I help people look at the world from a new understanding so that they can escape the pandemic or any other challenge that they may be facing and go on to live the life of their dreams. So what I want to tell you about today are a few stories, because that's going to be the best way for you to get a flavor for how our thoughts create our reality. So the first story I want to tell you about is David. Now David was in a rocky marital situation. There was infidelity in the marriage. This was his second marriage. He did not want his second marriage to fail. And there was just a lot of anger and frustration and hurt and everything. And so one day he was listening to a course that he decided to take. And his wife, now keep in mind they're like barely talking to each other, his wife sort of picked up what he was listening to and said, can I sit with you and listen to this? And he's like, sure, whatever, he was like, this is my thing, I don't care what you do. So they're both sitting there listening to this information, and his wife got an amazing insight. And she looked over at David and she said to him, we're going to be all right, I just know it. And he looked at her like, what? Like, what are you talking about? We're like practically divorced. And she had heard an analogy, which I'm going to share with you in a few minutes, about a movie projector. And it gave her an insight that changed the way she was viewing her marital situation. And she knew the outcome was going to be okay. So that's David's story. I also want to talk to you about dog training. Now, this is one of my stories. I have a little Chihuahua. I'd hold her up to show you, but she's with my daughter right now. But I have a little white Chihuahua, and her name is Annie. And they say about Chihuahuas that they're really hard to train. So, well, what are you going to do when you hear that? So sure enough, Annie gets taken out enough, but she still goes in the house. So I would put a pee pad down for her, and maybe about 60% of the time she would use the pee pad. The rest of the time she would do it right on the tile on the floor. And I would wake up in the morning and I would step in that, and I would be like, damn it. And I'd be saying, you stupid dog. And I know you shouldn't say that. I know you shouldn't talk to dogs like that, but I was frustrated. You stepping in bare feet in dog pee, you would be saying the same thing probably. So anyway, this went on for months and months and months, okay? So I came to this similar insight that David's wife came to. And I said, you know what? Instead of calling Annie a stupid dog, I'm going to start telling her that she's a smart dog and that she goes on the wee-wee pads just like she's supposed to. Okay, so I changed, first of all, the story about Chihuahuas that they can't be the way that I dealt with her and thought about her and spoke to her. Well, guess what? Annie goes on the wee-wee pad now. So I was able to change that whole situation with my thoughts and my words too, in the way I spoke to her. So now Annie's a good dog and a smart dog, and I tell her that all the time, and she goes on the wee-wee pad 99% of the time. So, and this other story I want to tell you about is also my own story, and it has to do with caffeine addiction. So everybody knows that caffeine is addictive, right? And what's the story that you've heard your whole life about caffeine addiction? When you stop drinking coffee or other caffeinated drinks cold turkey, what happens? What do they tell you happens? You're going to get a caffeine withdrawal headache, right? Now, I've done this in the past more than once, and each time, if I didn't taper off, I would get a caffeine headache. Okay, sometimes I would forget to drink my coffee for a day, which was kind of odd because I'd always do that every morning. But once in a blue moon, I'd forget to drink coffee that day. And I'd wake up with this killer headache, like, oh my God, this is a caffeine headache. I forgot my coffee yesterday. Or maybe I forgot the second cup when I was back doing 2 cups a day, right? So I was getting ready to do a detox, and that included no coffee. So before I started the detox, I decided I'm going to just go cold turkey, and I'm not going to get a headache. I'm not going to believe the old stories that they say that caffeine gives you a headache when you withdraw from it. And I just stopped. And what happened was I didn't get a headache. I had this like feeling up in my head area. It was kind of like a band, but it didn't hurt. There was no headache there. It was like the container for where the headache should have been was there, but there was no headache, there was no pain. So how did I do that? How did I all of a sudden not get a caffeine withdrawal headache? And the other thing I want to ask you is, if that's possible for me with caffeine, what are the implications for people that are addicted to stronger things? The stories about getting off heroin, how horrible they are. We'll change that story and just go off it. I know it sounds crazy, right? But our thoughts are that powerful. And that's why I wanted to tell you those 3 stories. And I want to circle back to David's story. What was the analogy that his wife came to an insight and understanding that she didn't have before? And that was this. If you picture a movie projector, right, and you are behind the camera and you are projecting the movie out onto the screen. So the movie projectionist is in charge of everything that's going on the screen. And we, as creators of our life, we are the ones that are creating our own movies that are appearing on the screen. Not only are we creating the movies and the script, but we are the main characters, we are the directors, we are the script writers, we are the creative consultants, we are all of the above. Everything that has to do with creating our life's movie is all us. We do it all. And she realized when she learned this, that she could choose and decide to write a new story for her marriage, not one that was on the rocks and ready to go to divorce, but one that was going to make it and be okay. So that is the power of the creative power of our thoughts to create the life that we want. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my notes. Hold on. Oh, I have one more story I want to tell you because I'm checking my time and I have a little bit more time. So one more story I want to tell you. This one was really good. So I live in Florida, and in Florida there are fire ants. Now, I don't know if you know what fire ants are, but when they bite you, holy moly, you start to feel it, and then it starts getting worse. And before you know it, your feet, usually it's on your feet because you're walking in the ant, an ant mound that you didn't realize you stepped in, like a landmine. And all of a sudden, you're getting these little bites that turn into little welts and little blisters, and they hurt, and they take a long time to go away, like 10 days to go away. And then sometimes they leave scars, even if you don't touch them or itch them or anything, and they're super itchy, and they itch and hurt at the same time. So back in the fall, we have fire ants all over this property. So I was taking out the recycling bin, and I had on, I live in Florida, so I had on like flip-flops, and I'm taking out the recycle bin, and I started getting bit by these things, right? I started feeling them biting me. So I dropped the recycle bin, and I was like, son of a bitch, sorry, but that's what I said. I was so mad because I knew they were attacking me. And in the middle of the night that night, oh my God, I woke up at like 3 a.m. and both my feet were on fire. I literally had about 20 bites on both of my feet. So it took a long time to go away, and it was, a typical fire ant story that anyone else in Florida that's been bitten by one or more will tell you. So what happens? I learned this information, right? And so I'm taking out the recycle bins a few months later after that story I just told you. Same scenario, I'm taking out the recycle bin, same flip-flops, and they start biting me, right? Now, what did I do? Instead of alarming myself by dropping it and screaming, I didn't do anything. First of all, I made sure I got them off me so they quit biting me. But, they had still gotten quite a few bites in. And I said to myself, I'm not going to have the welts or the blisters like I had before, and it's going to go away. And guess what? Instead of 10 days and blisters and waking up in the middle of the night in fiery pain, I had no pain overnight, and I woke up and the welts were barely there. There was, out of like 15 bites, there was like one little blister. They all should have been blistered according to, what normally happens. So these are the powerful ways that we can use our thoughts to create the situations that we want in life. So where does this insight come from? Well, there's a man called Sydney Banks, and he has written, he's deceased now, but he had a 9th grade education. He was a welder from Scotland, and he had this spiritual insight, and he became a teacher of psychologists, psychiatrists, physicists. I mean, this guy, Sydney Banks, was amazing. And if you look him up on YouTube, there are some talks of his, and he explains this. And I recommend also his book, which is entitled The Missing Link. That is one of my favorite books, and as a coach, that is one of the books I recommend to my clients to read. So what is the missing link? What are the 3 principles? So we have our mind, our thoughts, and our consciousness. Another name for our consciousness is our reality. So our mind is the divine spiritual mind. Okay, some people might call it spirit, but in the 3 principles we call it mind. So that is your divine, infinite intelligence connection. And when you tap into your infinite divine intelligence, what I'm teaching you right now, you'll understand it. And so your thoughts are constantly creating your consciousness, your reality, as I illustrated in the stories I told you a little bit earlier. So that is the three principles of mind, thought, and consciousness. And I like to talk about Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, because Dorothy didn't know she had the power to get where she wanted to go, right? She desperately wanted to go home, and she was dealing with all kinds of stuff going on in Oz, you know, the Wicked Witch of the West, and you know, the flying monkeys and the wizard and falling asleep in the poppies. You know, she just had roadblock after roadblock trying to get to see the wizard. And we know what happens when she sees the wizard. He's very intimidating, and he tells her to get the witch's broom, which she does with a lot of hassle, right? And she brings the witch's broom, and he still wanted more. And she was like, oh no. But thankfully, Toto pulled the curtain back, and you could see that the wizard was just this old guy, you know, moving the levers and pretending to be this big blowhard. So what I'm telling you is you have the power like Dorothy did. And whatever the stories that you're living by, you can change them. You can get home if you want. You can do whatever you want. So I just want to encourage you with this information and tell you that you are whole, perfect, powerful, complete. You know, most coaches will try to help you work on your problems. I don't do that. I'll listen to you, but then I will help you tap into this unlimited power that you have, this magic that you have within you to create the life of your dreams by your thoughts. So I hope this was interesting for you. And I do want to mention one thing. I am writing a book. It should be out August of this year. It's called Living in an Escape Room. And I've escaped many, many things in my life, including 2 deadly car accidents, an unhappy marriage, the fear and judgment of patriarchal religion, manipulative friends, the expectations of others, low self-esteem, subconscious programming. I've escaped a lot to be here to speak to you today and give you this message. So I'm writing a book about my experiences, and actually the 2 deadly car accidents that I escaped from, I had some help from my guardian angels. And the title of that chapter is Angels Riding Shotgun. And if you send me a friend request and go see on my Facebook wall, you'll see pictures of the 2 car accidents I had. One when I was 19, one when I was 26. I should have died in both of those car accidents, and angels rescued me from those, so I could be here to speak with you today. So anyway, there is a link in the description where you can get on the wait list to know when my book is out in August. And I also have a link there for you to book a call with me. So if you would like to talk about what's going on in your life and how you would like to tap into this creative power that you have with your thoughts, creating the life that you desire, and overcoming any challenges that you may have. The pandemic may have created a big challenge for you, depending on where you live and what's going on with you. So I work with clients that want to escape the pandemic. And I actually have a group coaching program called the Escape Room. And I have a free challenge coming up soon called Turn Off the Pandemic. So, but I don't have that on the books as of yet, but it's coming up very soon. So feel free to friend request me. And the other thing is, I have a link to book a call with me. So if you'd like to talk about what's going on in your life and you'd like to see if we maybe would be a fit to work together, I would love a chance to talk with you and share, hear from you and what's going on with you, and seeing if maybe we would be a good fit to work together. So now this is a transformation immersion retreat, and I also have a little gift for you that I created, and it is a wallpaper for your iPhone or your Android phone. And it has dragonflies in it. And the reason I chose dragonflies, and it's a beautiful painting, and I'm going to put it in the comments as soon as I'm done with this live, and you can just, save it and download it and use it. Excuse me. Dragonflies are symbolic of transformation. Excuse me. And I've had dragonflies flying around me, started back in September of last year. I was in somebody's driveway, and I got out of the car, and about 12 of them were like swarming around me, and I was like, oh my gosh. I looked up right away, what is the spiritual significance of dragonflies? And they are significant, symbolic of transformation. So what I want you to do is, when you use this wallpaper on your phone and you look at these dragonflies, I want you to think about this virtual retreat that you were part of this Friday and Saturday. And remember the speakers and the topics and the insights that you received, and how you want to put them into action. And it'll be a reminder to you that you are undergoing an amazing, wonderful, magical transformation, and the dragonflies will be around you all the time because you can keep them right on your phone. I live a very magical life, and I just wanted to share a little bit of that magic with you in the form of this dragonfly wallpaper for your phone. So anyway, thank you for watching. Nilofer, thank you again for this opportunity to speak to your audience. Remember, book a call with me. There is a link in the description. I look forward to talking to you. And I hope you have an amazing rest of this retreat. I love you, and I wish you all the blessings. Take care and have a good weekend. Bye for now.